I got 2 words for all of you. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. Republican co-chairs of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, Dave Joyce of Ohio and Brian Mass of Florida, sent a letter to President Joe Biden Friday seeking administrative cannabis policy action for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, or the BIA, calling him to promptly address discriminatory federal marijuana enforcement issues in tribal territories and to direct relevant agencies to prioritize more serious crimes like human trafficking and respect tribal sovereignty instead of going after cannabis. The request was made in lieu of BIA's enforcement action. Federal agents raided the garden of a New Mexican member of the Pueblo Picuras, destroying 9 plants grown for personal therapeutic use in compliance with state and tribal law. The man filed a claim indicating intention to file a lawsuit seeking $3.5 million in damages from the U.S. federal government and for what he and others view as a double standard, racially discriminatory cannabis criminalization. At a congressional hearing in April, Joyce separately raised the tribal cannabis issue with Interior Secretary Deb Haaland and pressed on the agency's enforcement policy at a Senate Appropriations Subcommittee hearing in July. And then back in June, the Senate committee held a listening session to broadly address marijuana issues for Indian tribes, discussing relevant legislation and the importance of tribal sovereignty with respect to cannabis, where several witnesses stressed the need to have a more comprehensive end to federal prohibition to uplift tribal markets. The letter discussed that the Justice Department needs to respect the inherent sovereignty of tribal governments and cease the enforcement of Controlled Substances Act on tribal land as it pertains to the growth, possession, and use of cannabis for medicinal, agricultural, and recreational purposes, where those tribes have legalized this activity for its known members and those acting in compliance with tribal law. The Obama-era Department of Justice did just that, the Wilkinson memo, but it was rescinded by Jeff Sessions. And should we be looking to the Republicans to help us on this stuff, or are we going to be fighting back against them? I don't know. Maybe my conservative teammates here can help me out as to what Joyce and Mass's stances are on CRT, because I'm pretty sure acknowledging Indigenous people, genocide, and even fighting for their sovereign rights falls squarely into that quote-unquote woke category, and Republicans are asking for this. Seems kind of odd.
What are you referring to when you say they're being hypocritical?
CRT has nothing to do with this, though.
How does it not?
I'm asking, are you trying to lump them in with every other fuckhead who decided to talk about CRT?
What exactly are you saying is the hypocrisy?
The hypocrisy here is conservatives leading the charge on this particular issue, because CRT would raise issues like this and try to bring those into light in modern day systemic racism. The genocide would have to be brought up, correct?
Okay, yeah. I think you're out of your gourd.
I'm wrenching on this one.
They haven't said anything for them to be hypocritical about. I don't know of Joyce getting into the CRT debate.
I remember when CRT only standed for court.
CRT is not even taught to children, but Republicans have projected it onto kids, and everybody else is saying teach kids an accurate history. They're not saying teach them CRT, they said teach them history as it happened. In terms of the hypocrisy, the Republicans are making a good point to President Biden about this issue. It is hypocritical to disregard Indigenous people's rights when we've made over 300 treaties with them and we choose to disregard them whenever we feel like it. I mean, they're supposed to have sovereignty over their lands and allows our government to meddle in their business anytime they want to.
I just want the real Republicans to stand up.
Real Republicans,
I cannot
stand up,
I cannot believe that you're trying to tie these two things together, Rico.
CRT
is a flawed educational scheme. Came up in a bunch of liberals in a think tank.
Bullshit.
And they're just trying to spew across the country.
Let's go ahead and segue this one, because this is going down a deep, dark rabbit hole that we don't have the emotional security or the ability to give people the therapy needed to recover from where this story will go.
You want to take out Martin Luther King? You want to take Martin Luther King out of the history books? But
never said that. I'm all about keeping Martin Luther King in the history books. That's stupid. That's part of history.
The real Republican, please stand up. Mr. Jason
Oh,
Beck.
yes.